Welcome to the Successful Home Inspector Podcast, where we discuss everything you need to know about home inspection from A to Z. Brought to you by Preston, Sandlin, and Home Inspection Carolina. We're here to share some success stories and some not so successful stories. Some things we can all learn from, and maybe, just maybe, we can help each other and raise the profession. So sit back, turn up the volume, and enjoy. Now, here's your host of the Successful Home Inspector Podcast, Preston Sandlin.
Guys, let's face it, Yellow Pages are dead. The old days of calling your company AAA Home Inspection and expecting to get calls from that by being number one on the Yellow Pages don't work anymore. Today, you got to be number one on the search engines. That's Google, Yahoo, Bing, or a couple of others. Billy Borner from St. Louis knows how to do this. He has been number one for quite some time, and it brings him thousands of dollars each month. I've talked to Billy, and he's decided to make this available for you. SEO Secrets. And he normally charges $49 for this instructional video, but for our listeners, we've worked out a deal where it's $39.95. For $39.95, you can bring thousands of dollars to your company each month as well. Go to the homepage, thesuccessfulhomeinspector.com, and look on the tab SEO Secrets. Click on that and go to Billy's link.
All right. Well, I have a special treat for you guys tonight. I am here with, I'm interviewing Glenford, who owns Prospect Home Inspection in Washington, D.C., and serves the greater D.C. area. How you doing, Glenford?
I'm doing quite well.
Tell us a little bit about you, because we'd like to get to know you personally.
Well, let's see. I got into this business after having a small architectural firm for several years. My wife and I both graduated from architecture school, and we started the home inspection business about 12 years ago. Okay. And I was originally from London. My wife is from Brooklyn. We have 4 kids, and we are in the Washington, D.C. metro area doing what we do best.
I hear you. Now, do you go to Baltimore too, or is that too far away? That's a pretty good way.
We cover pretty much the entire state of Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia. Wow.
Well, Glenford, now you said you started out in architecture. What led you from being an architect to being a home inspector? Was one particular thing have a home inspector, or what kind of got you into inspection?
It really started because we knew quite a few real estate agents, and they would, ask us to come out and take a look at whatever concerns they may have on a house they're purchasing for their clients. So we decided to take a serious look at the industry, see what it was about, took the course to understand the industry better, and we thought it was a pretty good fit.
Sure. And I'm sure your architecture background helps a lot. Are you licensed is the District of Columbia, Maryland, is that a licensing state, or?
Maryland is licensing, is a licensing state. D.C. is not.
Okay. What's involved, if you don't mind sharing, to get your license in Maryland? What's required?
In Maryland, you have to take a minimum 72-hour classroom course. You have to pass the national exam, and I believe the insurance requirement is like $250,000 general liability insurance.
Okay. It's similar to a lot of other states. Well, Glenford, you mentioned how long you've been doing inspections. Tell me about some of the changes that you've seen.
Some of the challenges?
Changes you've seen.
Changes?
Yeah.
Wow.
Since you started.
When we got into it, we were one of the first to do computerized reports. Mm-hmm. When we started out, we were printing our reports on site. So we literally bring our office to the site, printers, computer, and binders, the whole 9 yards. And that worked out well our first couple of years. The then agents started to get a little anxious. They didn't want to wait around for a printed report.
Right.
So we moved away from that, and we started delivering reports on CDs, custom CDs. That lasted about a year and a half. We briefly tried a USB drive, and a lot of that came about because the file size with all the pictures we were taking was too large to send via email.
Right.
And then we stumbled across HomeGauge, and we've been using HomeGauge ever since. That allows us to send our reports via a website, essentially.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that we've seen a lot. That has changed in terms of the report delivery. Infrared, we started using that a couple of years ago. So that is more prevalent in the industry now. There's still quite a few firms who don't do it, but it's becoming more and more commonplace.
Right.
About 4 or 5 months ago, we started using drones for really tall buildings. So we're one of the few companies that use drones for roof inspections. But there are a couple others out there, so I expect to see that become more commonplace down the road. And pole cameras. So those, in all of that time frame, those things have changed significantly. And then there's also the use of the handheld device in the field, which started about maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
That's now.
Cool. What, hey Glenford, which polls? How? I know we had talked about this. What polls did you finally go with on the pole cameras?
We tried out the poll from a company in London, in Britain, called 4Cam. The poll is pretty good. It goes up 31 feet, and then it contracts to barely 4 feet.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, the support is the problem we had with them. It just takes too long for them to get back to us. And so we decided to go to a local company, and we're going to be talking to a company that produces the iStick. That's our preference locally. We haven't actually settled on a deal with them yet, but that's the direction we're going in.
Cool. Keep me posted. I'm curious about that. And Glenford, on a side note, I just got my DJI Phantom 3 drone came in the mail last week, and I'm excited. I hadn't had time to mess with it because I have messed with it, but I've got to update the iOS phone to iOS 8 for the software to work. But supposedly fly indoors with it, and it itself to the ground, stay dead. Presentation with that, but I've got to update my phone first.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we have the DJI Phantom 2.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love them. They're awesome. And it's not just a toy. I know people think that, but it's amazing what you can see with them. Yep.
I had mine in the air yesterday and today. I've done three tall townhouses with it.
Nice. Well, Glenford, I'm gonna double these questions. The first part of the question is, how many inspectors do you have, and what was it like hiring the first one? Because a lot of guys out there struggle with that, have a hard time hiring the first one. So, what would you say to that?
It's tough. Hiring the first one was difficult. I think we went through, I would say 8 potential inspectors before we found one that worked out for us. We had all sorts of issues. The first gentleman we tried to train from scratch, coach him through the exam and all of that, but he failed the national exam twice.
Oh.
We ended up letting him go. And then we've had one gentleman who, at that point we decided, okay, we're only interviewing guys who had already passed the national exam, because we have our own internal training program. And, yeah, we literally went through 8 different people who didn't make it through our internal training, and these folks had a license.
Right.
So that's been interesting. But we have 4 guys now, which are working out really, really well. And they're getting a lot of very positive reviews out there. We're interviewing another one tomorrow, and we've got inquiries from two inspectors that are interested in joining us. Good.
Well, Glenford, tell me about your internal training. What's your training process look like? I know guys vary with the amount of experience and whatnot, but what's your training process look like?
Well, for us, we don't care how much training you have. You have to go through our 4 weeks of training. It's minimum 4 weeks.
Right.
And our approach is this. We want you to come to us with some basic information, some basic knowledge.
Right.
And that's what we require. You have to have met all of the requirements for Maryland state licensing. You don't necessarily have to have the license in hand, but you have to have met all of the state requirements.
Right.
So that once you finish our internal training, all you have to do is apply for the license.
Right.
And so when the guys come to us, we tell them, look, I'm not teaching you how to inspect the furnace. I expect you to know that. What I'm teaching you is how what we call the ProSpec inspection system, how we conduct the inspection. And our expectation is you take what we're teaching you, add your personality and your knowledge to it, and we can guarantee you're going to be successful.
Right.
That's our approach. And so we have to go through, in 4 weeks, the inspector has to go through a minimum of 20 inspections. And it's progressive. The first 5, they observe how I do the inspection. The next 5, while they're doing the first 5, they're learning our systems, the software that we use, how we communicate with the customer, things like that.
Right.
The next 5, they've learned the software, so I give them 5 inspections to be able to complete an inspection report that meets our specifications. I'm not concerned about accuracy. I'm concerned about your ability to complete the report so that we can get those basic things out of the way.
Right.
The next 5 inspections, I'm expecting 5 inspection reports from you that are fairly accurate. You're following our system. You're producing the report. I allow you to interact with the customer while I'm there. And at the end, we look at my report, and we look at your report, and we ask ourselves, why are they so different if they are?
Right.
What are you seeing that I didn't see? What did I see that you didn't see? And we talk about it. And then the last 5, we switch roles. You are now the lead inspector. I'm observing you. You communicate with the customer because we are very, very concerned about your communication skills. We stress that high. Any guys with very good communication skills.
Right.
Right. What we tell them is, you can be you can have all the technical knowledge you want. If you're a poor communicator, you're not going to be a good inspector.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to be able to navigate agents, some of whom will allow you to do what you do, some of whom wants to be in your face all the time.
Yep.
You've got to be able to navigate 300 to 400 different personalities a year, different ethnicities, different ages, different demeanors, people who come to the inspection with different agendas.
Right.
I don't care how technical savvy you are. If you're not a good communicator and cannot manage the inspection with all that's going on around you, people are not going to refer you.
Right.
That's what I learned. And I can take anybody that's willing to do the work and turn them into a good inspector if they can communicate well.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I try to tell my guys, there's some real estate agents that will try to take over the inspection, and you're in charge of this inspection. So let them take it over. Well, Glenford, let's say that I'm a buyer or real estate agent in Washington, D.C. or Maryland, and there are other inspectors in your market. Why should I your inspection company do our inspection? What do you guys do that is different from your competitors?
Well, first of all, we don't compete on price.
Right.
So I like to take that discussion off the table.
Right.
Because there are companies, and I understand why people, money's tight. They want to get as much as they can, for the money they can spend.
Right.
But I tell folks right up front, if you're looking for a deal on a home inspection, that's not us. That's not what we do.
Right.
We see ourselves as educators. We can go through a house and find absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I guarantee you at the end, you'll have a very satisfied customer who's now more in tune with their house. They have a better understanding of what they're purchasing.
Right.
And on top of that, you've got guys who have the credentials, have the training. We require all of our guys to be at least IR level 1 certified, and we stand behind what we do.
Right.
We have a 2-for-1 guarantee on our inspections. We have $1 million general liability insurance. We have errors and omissions insurance. And we're going to be here. And if something goes wrong and you don't like it, we'll pay for another inspector to do the job that we didn't do. But I'm willing to bet that's never going to happen.
Right, right. I want to back up on what you said there at the very beginning. I agree. Don't compete on price. That's a race to the bottom. We're not Walmart. I say compete on value. Give them more value, but not price. I mean, that's the race to the bottom. Well,
yeah, I refuse to discuss price before I discuss what we do.
Right. Exactly. Good way to go there. Well, Glenford, I'm going to combine these two questions. Switching gears just a little bit. Tell us something most people don't know about you. What do you do in your spare time? Although I know this time of year you probably don't have much spare time.
You're right. This time of year there is no such thing as spare time.
If you had spare time, what would you do?
If I had spare time, to be honest, I'd probably spend more time with my kids.
Sure.
My wife and we have 4 kids. The youngest is about to turn 5. The oldest just turned 15.
Wow.
And, they're into sports. They're into different things. And, I don't like it when they say, Dad, you're always working.
Right.
If I had more time, that's probably what I would do. And then I'll spend more time taking my wife out somewhere.
I hear you. And for all the listeners out there, Glenford is he's taking his son home from a field trip as we speak. And I know both of us have kids, and we're finally doing this interview, but I know a lot of it goes over schedules with kids, and I appreciate your time, and I know the listeners do too. Well, Glenford, we're almost at the break here. You know as well as I do that if you do enough inspections, you're going to have an unhappy camper. How do you handle an unhappy camper? Do you have a process? What's that look like?
Well, we do. And the first thing is to address the concern as quickly as possible.
Right.
We tell our customers, look, we are here. We're not going anywhere. If you have a concern, come to us first. And 9 times out of 10, we can resolve the issue.
Right.
And depending on what it is, I try not to get into discussions about refunds and things like that. I think most people, if you respond in a professional manner to their concern, they will respond positively.
Right.
And while, like most companies, we offer a 100% refund if a customer's not satisfied, I can't remember the last time we've ever had to do that. Now, we have given the customer, I would say, much more than a refund because the situation warranted it.
Right.
We didn't turn around and say, well, you agreed to only getting a refund back. We looked at the situation and we wrote a healthy check.
I've wrote a few of those. It's not fun, but
yes. Now, fortunately, we've only had to do that one time in 12 years.
Right.
Happy customers is just not something we're familiar with because we get those things quickly, and most people are very, very reasonable, and it's one of those things. I think it all comes back to communication skills.
Right.
We teach the guys you've got to communicate well. That way, if something does happen, the customer will call you because of the manner in which you conducted the inspection. They feel like they know you. They can come to you if they have a concern, then they will. And that's your business.
And if they liked you a lot on the front end when you did that inspection, you got a heck of a lot better chance of resolving a complaint in a way that'll be satisfactory to everybody.
Every time.
If they liked you on the front end. Well, Glenford, we're going to get into some highs and lows here in just a second. But first, let's take a pause for our sponsors.
Are you struggling to make your home inspection business grow? Well, have I got the answer for you. HomeInspectionFlyers.com. At HomeInspectionFlyers.com, you get 5 flyers a month. There are 3 sales flyers and 2 recipe flyers. And you can customize them to exactly what you want. And these make great flyers when you go to the offices to put in their boxes, especially if you're doing like candy bowls or something along that nature. Like I said, it's 5 flyers a month for $29.99, and they're very creative, and you just put in your information. They come as a publisher file, and you just put in your information, and then you send them off to get printed. You can send them off online, and you can get color copies for less than 10 cents a copy. It's a great way to go. I went from being a 1-man home inspection firm to a 7-man home inspection firm on this one strategy alone. So try it today. HomeInspectionFlyers.com. Thanks.
Right. Well, I am back here with Glenford at Prospect Inspections in Washington, D.C. Glenford, tell us about a time when you failed. Take us there and what you learned from it.
When I failed?
Or something that didn't go as well as planned in your business, or something a learning experience, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Let's see.
Or maybe some marketing or something you tried that you thought was going to be like the next big thing, or And if you don't have one, it's all right.
Let's see. Well,
I, on the other hand, have so many, I couldn't choose just one. which failure story you want to hear?
I think part of it is because this is not our first business.
Right.
We learned a lot from another business we have, and so there's a lot of things we didn't do when we got into this business.
Right.
Like, for example, we never went out there with brochures and doing mass mailings and stuff like that. We learned early on that stuff doesn't work. We learned what works is shaking someone's hand and looking them in the eye, and as a result, we do a lot of networking groups, speaking engagement, things like that, where you can talk to people.
Sure. No, I totally agree.
And I do that to this day. Every Friday, I give up my Friday morning, and I go to a networking group, and I've been doing that for years.
Right.
And no matter how successful we are, we're gonna be doing it forever.
Right.
I think that's the biggest lesson, because at the end of the day, someone once said, people do business with people.
Right.
They don't do business with brochures.
I like that.
the more you can communicate with people, the better. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned.
Right.
But aside from that, no, we've had a pretty good ride so far.
Right. Well, that leads into my next question. Have you had a moment that, like, you look back and said, we've come a long way? Have you had one of those moments where, come a long way?
Yeah. That moment was just last week, because we made the decision to grow the company just a little over 2 years ago.
Okay.
For the first almost 10 years, it was just me and my wife.
Right. Right.
And in 2 years, 2.5 years, we hired a business coach 2 years ago, and he's been very instrumental in guiding us and holding us accountable. And today we have 4 inspectors, and we still have more work than we can handle.
Awesome. So. Well, Glenford, do you have a favorite book or a business book or a book that you got something out of that you could recommend for our listeners?
E-Myth Revisited. Yeah.
Michael Gerber.
Yep.
All about systems. All about systems.
Yep.
Well, we talked a little bit about some of the changes in the home inspection business. Glenford, if you had a crystal ball, what would you guess would be some of the changes in the future that we might see?
It's all going to be technologically driven. I think Google Glass or something very similar,
right,
will be the tool of choice with the software loaded in it, leaving your hands free so you can talk and record and take pictures, as you're doing the inspection.
Yeah. We're moving into the Jetsons. We're turning into the Jetsons.
Yeah.
My wife just bought one of those Roomba things. I was like, this was like on the Jetsons. Well, we just bought a Roomba last week. Oh, yeah, same thing. That thing's pretty cool, but, man, I'm scared of that thing at night because I've been known to raid the refrigerator late at night. Where's the Roomba? It's like I hear the Jaws music coming around. Where is that thing? Well, Glenford, I know the answer to this before I ask, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever been thrown under the bus by a contractor? I know I have. How do you handle it? And do you have any ideas on, how we can contain this? I don't think we can ever stop it, but what's your thoughts on that?
My thought is to call out the contractor, call him up. We had a contractor do that to us. It was a plumbing contractor.
Right.
And I got a call from the owner of the company who was very upset by what I told the customer. And basically what happened was, the water heater contractor went in there and started telling the customer that, the home inspector should have caught this. And this happened, and the home inspection had been done like 3 months earlier.
Wow.
Naturally, the customer calls us and says, the plumber said. And I said, okay. Was the plumber there when we conducted the inspection? This water heater was not leaking at that time. And then he made all references telling her it's not up to code and went on and on and on. I said, whoa. That doesn't make any sense. What do you mean not up to code? What was the code 15 years ago when the water heater was installed?
Right.
Needless to say, he gave her a big, long story, had her pay for a water heater installation that cost her $2,800, and I told her, man.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yes, sir. Yep. I told her, man, you overpaid for that water heater, and I sent her a link to the water heater. The price of the water heater was $700. And I told her, man, you overpaid for that water, and this is what contractors do.
Yeah.
And he happened to be at the house at the time. She put him on the phone. Now he's trying to backtrack what he said.
Right.
And she comes on the phone and she says, I swear to you, sir, that is not what he told me. I said, ma'am, I just wish you had called us first.
That guy robbed her, man. He robbed her. And that's a good lead into my next question here. Something that bothers me is contractors that use fear. And some of the mold folks are the worst. There's some HVAC people, and apparently there's plumbers too, that go in and try to scare people into something they may or may not need. And I found out, there's some people who aren't interested in repairing your HVAC at all. They're interested in selling you a new one. That is their entire purpose for coming to the house.
Yep.
And the same thing with there's some companies that get into this mold remediation, and the fact that they called out there, it's like a lead. They're trying to sell mold remediation. They're not going to go in there and say, you know what, it's not that bad. You don't need to spend it. Put some poly down and you're good. Or I don't know. I've had I had problems with people who use speakers to tell people things that they don't need. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, I don't really know what I'm asking.
I agree with you 100%. It's one of the reasons why we at this point do not do mold testing, and that is because oftentimes, we have branded ourselves as educators. So therefore, we try to help people understand the dynamics of what's going on, so that they can make an informed decision as to what it is they want to do.
Right.
Every customer that calls us up and says they need a home inspection, termite inspection, mold inspection, and radon test, I say, okay, whoa, hold up a minute. Why do you think you need a mold test? Well, I was told. I said, whoa.
Who told you?
Hold up. I said, look, ma'am or sir, I can bill you $200 for a mold test. But to be perfectly honest with you, let's do the home inspection first, and if there is a need for one, the home inspector will tell you.
Right.
I tell them 9 times out of 10, all a mold test is going to do is tell you you have black mold, yellow mold, white mold, green. It's like, do you really care what type of mold it is? 9.9 times out of 10, people will tell you they don't care. They just want to get rid of it. Then I said, well, fine, save your money. Don't bother test for it, because if you got mold, it means you got a moisture problem. The home inspector will likely find the moisture problem, or if not, lead you in a direction that'll find. So let's eliminate the moisture problem and keep your money in your pocket. I'm not a fan of mold testing. But I agree with you. It's just, in a lot of cases, it's just to get more money out of the customer.
Yeah. Well, on the other side of that too, I've seen mold remediation companies go in and recommend a $15,000 mold remediation, and I ask, well, have you tested? And they say, no, we usually don't do that. I'm like, well, why haven't you? I mean, you're assuming the worst.
Exactly.
By, doing a $15,000 mold remediation, and the reason they haven't tested is because it may come back and the counts be low enough it's not required, and they know they'll lose $15,000, but that's
exactly
wrong. That's wrong. You're making somebody spend $15,000 if they don't need to. So anyway, I get on my soapbox, but one more thing I want to ask your opinion on, Glenford. Some of these forums, I think there's some forums are great. I like the idea of forums, and they're a place where inspectors can go on there and get help and share things, and we all help each other and share our experiences. Unfortunately, there are some chest thumpers and what's the guy Gordon calls them? What is it? Keyboard cowboys that want to be a little derogatory or just just ugly on there, and I don't see any room or place for it. I don't know. It makes our profession look bad. Do you have any opinions on that?
No, I agree with you 100%. If you're going to get engaged in these forums, I think it's all about education. In that, if something negative happens, what do you learn from it? So if you have a negative experience, you should be able to bring it to a forum and learn something from it, because I'm sure there's someone else that went through the same thing. Right. But talking negative about someone, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm with you, and I know there's all different experience level, and I've always thought, and I believe everybody knows something I don't, and I know something they don't. Why can't we help each other?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, all right. Well, let's lighten it up a little bit, Glenford. And there's only about we got about 6 or 7 more questions here, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Now, remember, this is a G-rated show answering this question. What is the wildest, craziest, the weirdest thing you ever found at a home inspection?
The craziest thing I found, this was a finished attic. this person had a bedroom set up there. It was okay. And it had a roof leak.
Okay.
And they took a large piece of plastic, hung it over the bed, channeled the water to a bucket in the corner by the bed.
Wow. They could have just fixed the leak.
Yep.
Oh,
that's the wildest one I've seen.
I have this saying, there's a thin line between redneck and genius. And that line's crossed often.
Yep.
Glenford, do you have a internet or an app or a training, something you've come across that, you know, like a resource that you'd be willing to share with the listeners? Or a training resource? I shared one the other day that I found out. Waze is great. It's like a GPS. If you put it on your phone and, you know, you're traveling around doing inspections, but people tell you ahead of time if there's a policeman or if there's a traffic accident. It's awesome. But have you run across anything like that? Yep,
actually that did come to mind because that's what we use.
Okay.
We'd be late many times if it wasn't for Waze. In terms of a resource online, I can't say that I've got anything specific. I think from a management standpoint, we try to use technology as much as possible to make things as efficient as possible. I don't like wasting time and energy and money.
Sure.
We automate our systems. Like a lot of other inspectors, we use ISN. That has helped us tremendously in streamlining our operation. So we're always looking for ways to improve and evaluating whatever is out there.
Absolutely.
But other than that, we use Constant Contact. We use QuickBooks. And I think at the end of the day, it's if you as in business in general, focus on your strengths and find people that can handle the things you're not so good at. Too many of us try to do everything ourselves. You're not going to get very far doing it. You're just going to burn yourself out.
Absolutely. And it's taken me a long time to figure that out, but I've learned it the hard way. But you're absolutely correct.
Yeah, we've had a bookkeeper for at least I would say 18 years that does the bookkeeping. Even when we were a one-man shop, we had a bookkeeper do it because I prefer to pay the bookkeeper $40 an hour while I go out there and I charge $175 to $185 an hour for my time.
Sure.
Why would I take my time to do the books?
I know, and my wife's getting on me because I still mow the grass, and I know I should. It's about the same principle, you know. You can make $185 an hour. You know, why are you doing something that's $30 an hour? You know what I mean? So, anyway, I'm still learning. Well, Glenford, I think we just got 2 or 3 questions left here. What is there anything, Glenford, you're working on right now that has you excited or stoked about?
Well, right now, what we're actually really trying to find another home inspector. We have an interview tomorrow with a gentleman because we're just so busy, and we've got some things on the back burner in terms of marketing. We have a new product we want to release called our Platinum Plus package, which we think is going to be a great hit. But just getting a few other things tightened up. Getting all of our guys. One of my guys is going to get his IR certification next month. So we're really focused on, plugging some holes so that, all of this work that we can't handle is not going to somebody else.
Sure. Now, your Platinum Plus, is that sort of like one of those, like, where you combine a lot of your different services type deal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do something like that in Wally. I don't know if you know Wally Conway down in Jacksonville. He does that. He has like a silver or gold, and I guess maybe something like what you do. And the theory being, and I think it works, is you tell them all about your platinum when they call, and and if they don't buy that, it's kind of like going to buy a car. When you go for a ride, they take you in the nicest decked out car that they can, And after you ride in that, there's no way you're buying just the basic. You're at least going to get the leather seats or the, some of it. So they say having the high end moves the middle.
Exactly.
And I think that'll work for you. I think that's a good idea. Well, Glenford, like 2 questions. If you had to move to a brand new area equal to the size and population of the area that you're in now, you still have all your guys, you have all your training, all your equipment, everything's the same. You just don't know anybody, but you have $5,000 to go out and market. What are you doing with that $5,000 next week?
If I had that $5,000?
To go meet new people. Or, how are you going to get the word out about your company?
It would all be spent networking, face-to-face, setting up maybe a luncheons, inviting folks out to sit down and talk about what we do. But it would be as much face-to-face interaction as I could get.
I'm with you. I think that would be the best return on investment. Well, Glenford, is there anything that I didn't ask you that I should have?
No, I think you got it all.
Well, Glenford, you've dropped some gold nuggets. You've been more than gracious with your time. If the listeners got some value, which I know you did, I know the listeners did, how can they go to your Facebook and give you some likes? Do you have a Facebook business page?
Yes, we do. Yeah, if you go to our website, there are links to we'll have a Google Plus page, Facebook, Twitter, and we're very involved with social media.
Sure. Now, what's that under? Is that ProSpec? How would they find it?
Yeah, pro-spex.com, pro-specs.com.
Cool. And if there's anybody who would like to talk to you or learn more about you or follow up with something you said, is it okay? Is there a way they can contact you?
Yeah, best way is to either send me an email. They can try calling me, but I'm so busy. I'm on the road all day, 10, 12 hours a day. No harm in trying that. Or we have an 800 number. All of the inspectors have an extension on that number so that you can use that. But email is the best way that we can set up a time to talk. Okay.
Can they email you from your website?
They can email me from the website. It's pretty easy. Customer service at pro-specs.com or sales at pro-specs.com.
Awesome. Well, Glenford, you've been more than gracious with your time, and I sure do appreciate it. And I'm going to let you get back to your family now.
All right, sir. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks a lot, Glenford.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out the Successful Home Inspector podcast. You can find show links at thesuccessfulhomeinspector.com. Check out the website for special offers, information, and other resources. Thanks again for listening to the Successful Home Inspector podcast. And remember to check back for new episodes. The Successful Home Inspector podcast is brought to you by Preston, Sandlin and Home Inspection Carolina.